Good evening, YouTube. This is your man, George Page, aka the Perry Sage, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, tonight, I feel like I'm being a little Perry Sage mode. I don't get to do it too often, As you know, it was a name that was given to me by my queen of shade, Mary Thomas, because, I can be a little pervy, so she called me the Pervy Sage. Anyway, before you was just this fit of beautiful beef is one Miss Bev Francis. Now, Bev, it was a legend in professional female bodybuilder. She is from Australia, and she was a track and field and powerlifter athlete back in the day. And in the early '80s, she came on board to female bodybuilding. She was one of the stars of the popular um, bodybuilder documentary "Pumping Iron 2" to women, where there was a debate of a masculine versus femininity. She was the one who changed the sport. But anyway, besides that, Bev is doing one of the most what considered a very popular pose in the sport of bodybuilding. It's called the crab pose. Now, the crab pose is called the most muscular pose performed by a professional bodybuilder, by a bodybuilder. Generally, it's mostly done by men, and it's really focused on power and strength. It's a power and strength kind of a pose, and you know in the early days of our female bodybuilders started doing it. They started taking it on upon themselves to do it in their shows and routines. But judges found that to be supposed to be too masculine for females, and they said that in some cases they didn't want the women to perform the poses. Now the pose is not it's not written down as a rule or anything, but it's like one of those rules that it's not spoken, but everybody knows about. But you know, after for a while, you stop seeing it in like shows and routines. But in the early 2000s, there was a bodybuilder named Betty Pariso who started doing the pose because she was having problems. She wasn't placing too well in the judges' eyes, and she started doing the poses more as a joke or a fun thing, just to give her a little, to help her out in her placing in shows. Well, since the last few years, the crab pose has come back in competitions for women. They do it sometimes. Like if you go to a show, there's a final pose down, and it's sometimes done when you just we have a little free pose moment for the women. They just do it just for fun of it. The crowd loves it. The crowd love it. The guys, it's just so amazing. It's to me, it's also considered not just one of the most muscular poses, but also one of the most sexually arousing poses to be done by a female bodybuilder. It really focuses on the traps, the shoulders, the biceps, the pecs. You know, it's just you. Ugh. Now this picture of Bev Francis is from '91. It was Bev's last time performing at Miss Olympia. Now Bev has been a runner-up and placed in the top five in the past. And for a while, after the whole controversy of her being so muscular, Bev kind of dropped down a bit, tried to fit for the idea what the judges want. But in '91, Bev knew she was not going to be Miss Olympia. She came in the most buffest muscular condition she ever come, not since when she first came into the sport of bodybuilding. And this was what her show was. I've rewinded and watched that video of her pose routine so many times. you know, Eh, when usually back in the day, I mostly just had magazines to look at, but now you have the internet, and so you have to worry about, you know. Well, if you are a real FBB schmo, you know what I'm talking about, fellas. You get my drift. Yes, yeah, perfect stage time. But anyway, you know, like I said before, the crab pose is considered both in the minds of certain people the most muscular, but also in the minds of other people the most sexually arousing pose. It's very, very awe-striking. If you ever go to a show and you see a female bodybuilder do that pose, especially on stage, she's all oiled up, tanned, she's just ripped, shredded, vascular. Ooh, ooh. Oh, you get that feeling that you just climbed the rope in gym class. But like I said, Bev was a legend, and after she retired, from bodybuilding, she kept in the sport. She owns a gym in around upstate New York. She was also she one of the promoters for the New York Pro, which is they used to carry female bodybuilding, but she decided to drop female bodybuilding from the New York Pro, which is kind of where it was kind of disappointing to me because that's kind of a stab in the back since she was the woman who kind of changed the face of bodybuilding with her physique. But that's not here or there. I mean, I might talk about that somewhere, but like I said, this is just an amazing pose, and this is one of Bev's best poses. I mean, I have several other pictures of Bev doing this pose, on my hard drive, but something else has got a hard drive and looking at it. well, well, anyway, like I said, this is just if you're a true fan of female bodybuilding and just women muscular period, this pose is just so awestruck. I mean, you just be amazed how much, just how much compact muscle in just one pose like she has right now. But Bev is a legend and one of the greatest, and it's just I'm always gonna be a fan of hers. But like I said, this is your man George Page, aka the Perfect Sage. Like, don't subscribe. I'm out, sweetie.